All right. Good morning, guys. Tradingology.com trading room for July 16th, or excuse me, June 16th, 2020. We'll get everybody rolling in here. Good morning, Dave. We'll get you unmuted there.
Good morning.
Got some interesting activity in the world as of late.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That's one way to put it, right?
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
We
Interesting is definitely the right word. Oh, there I am.
Let me get my chat window opened up here.
How's everybody doing this morning? Give you the royal wave. There you go. My daughter, when she was young, she was in a beauty contest. I mean, she was only like, it's one of the little ones, where she's like 10 years old or 8 years old or something like that. We taught her the royal wave.
Nice. In the parade?
Yeah. She won most photogenic.
Oh, very nice.
Ah. She hated every minute of it. She couldn't stand it.
Too funny. Well, we have some unscheduled people speaking, and you were saying there's just some minor testifying going on, or what's Powell talking about this morning?
He says, let's see, Powell, here's the headline. If not contained, downturn could turn further. Some indicators point to stabilization, however. So CNBC is doing the headlines on it.
Gotcha. Because that wasn't scheduled to happen, was it?
No. Well, I think it was. Output employment remained far below pre-pandemic levels. Significant uncertainty about timing, strength of recovery. So he's casting a lot of doubts. Longer downturn lasts, greater potential for long-term damage.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he's kind of critical here.
And it's been a lot of, we're not shutting down no matter what. We got to keep going back to work, I've heard.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's fueling this rally. The watch list I put out in the new newsletter I'm writing, I took out all of the financials. I took out the Dow, the diamonds. I don't think this market right now is either understandable or logical or based on fundamentals of any kind. There's no mention of like earnings, corporate earnings and stuff like that. It doesn't seem to have any effect on the market.
Yeah, I think there's just a few that are starting to report this week I've seen in the earnings season itself, but yeah, nothing major that's happening that I've noticed at least.
No, it's just purely driven on what they term animal spirits in the market.
Yeah, we see this
pure emotion.
Yeah, this morning we're opening up extremely to the bullish side looking at the internals, but look at yesterday. I mean, these are such odd days.
We were extreme negative yesterday, and we came right out of it, broke. And I was short over the weekend, and I got out when it was down 387 points yesterday because it went above that 2,000 line.
I've never seen anything open up negative 2,000 and make it to positive 1,000.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then today we're all extreme on the other side on the open.
Yeah, it looks like after the announcement yesterday that they're just going to continue to keep buying everything under the sun. It's turning into like the government just owns the market.
Yeah, exactly. And so, anything other than trading using your MES masterclass system, I think is futile at this point in financial stocks, indexes. I highly recommend everybody get the MES masterclass because that's the only way, in my opinion, you're going to survive trading in this environment.
Yeah, find the nice pockets in between. I appreciate the words, but yeah, I think that's what most people are using that strategy. I had a trader message me offline yesterday or Tuesday, I think it was. He was saying, I asked him how he was doing. He said, this can't be true. He says, Dan, I just made $2,000 today. I said,
Yeah, nice.
you're putting in the work, you're getting it done. That's how it, you know. So I'm glad that they're taking advantage of it. They're learning it, and
Yeah.
it's being put to good use. So, you know, if you can make $2,000 in one day, that is just something.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're making $1 million a year already, that's a lot. That's a good chunk of money right there to help out in these times. That's for sure. So yesterday I bought PDBC, which is like a PDBC, which is like DBA. So DBA is up today. It was down a little bit, but it's forming that kind of rounded bottom with a cup and handle. So it's a good pattern. DBAs are doing well. I like it. I'm going to stay in that. And I bought PDBC yesterday.
That's looking very nice gap up there this morning.
Nice little gap up right off the lows. On a daily chart, you can see it's a very similar pattern to DBA. The only difference between DBA and PDBC is that boy, it's really hard to say fast. The only difference is that the PDBC includes metals. So it's got copper, silver, gold, as well as oil in there. So it's got a broader basket of commodities. DBA is the agricultural one. Yeah, so you got a daily, you can grab there.
Well, I was taking some profits there.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
All right, it's all right. We'll get out of that position. Well, Greg's waiting at the door. We'll get one more guy in here. We're multitasking all over the place.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we'll pull up the daily. This is on a 15.
Yeah, if you're in right now, Powell is testifying. Not a lot of headlines, but he's basically repeating what he said last month. He's also asking for Congress for more stimulus. That's really odd.
That was the last thing I saw. Yeah, for the guys that are curious, I just took a little scalp in between here while we were opening up. So I saw it hitting up to this, and I was going to wait for the next line while we're busy. So I took a quick 5-point scalp in there is all I did there.
What's that? What's the blue line there?
The blue, I think, is the 20 simple.
Gotcha. Yeah, 20 is nice.
Yeah, it's very, very powerful.
Yeah.
Good morning, Greg. Good to see you made it. Andre, I'm sure we'll get to that. He was just curious about crypto and XRP. It was definitely interesting movements along with the regular markets yesterday, and we're seeing more and more correlation, right?
Yeah, that's a little bit concerning to me. It correlated very well when we had the decline, but it didn't go up as much today. I mean, the futures were up. The YM futures were up like 950 points earlier, but crypto didn't move up that high. So I don't know. We'll see. But DBC, it's PDBC.
Oh, okay. I was going back and forth between DBA, I think, and PDBC. And
yeah, so here's the difference between PDBC and DBC. DBC will send you a K1 at the end of the year.
Okay.
And I don't want to do that because you have a K1, you have to put it on your tax returns and then pay tax on it. So don't go into DBC unless you want that K1, which I'm not really sure why. You want to be able to mark at the end of the year and not pay a tax on that profit. If you have a profit on it at the end of the year, you don't want to pay tax on it. You get a K1, you got to pay tax. So I go to PDBC. You won't get a K1.
That's just interesting. I never even heard of that, so it's good to know.
Yeah, there's a couple of, you got to be careful. There's a couple of ETFs out there that will send you a K1 at the end of the year. So yeah, nice little pattern here. A little double bottom, didn't quite hit the low there, stayed above it. So we had a higher low on that next little downturn. Yeah. And it just started moving higher. I like the pattern. I think it's going to do well. And it's in the commodity space, which has gotten beat up over the last 12 years. It's been in a bear market for 12 years. And if anybody who hasn't watched George Gammon's video on why he buys stuff, he talked specifically about commodities this morning.
Yes.
Which we've been talking about for 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Right, exactly. They're secretly watching us, and they put it on their big show, and everybody hears it, so that's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there was a nice little pullback to let you in, and then I like it.
Nice little pattern up, yeah, I like it too. So I'm in that in DBA. I like the commodities because they are cheap right now. I think on a historic basis, they're very cheap.
Andre just watched his most recent one. He goes into when, and the cliff notes is when things are undervalued is the time to buy, and when they're overpriced, or I shouldn't say overpriced, when they're expensive, it's time to sell.
Right.
So not specifically on price, so it's different. So that's the one thing that is different as I was listening to him and comparing it to the price action profit, where price is everything. They're different strategies. So the other one's a macro level, and the price is everything is more of a swing trade investing strategy. So there's different times to look at price and different times to look at value, depending on what you're doing as a trader / investor.
Well, the quadrant system used in the price action profits gives you the idea if it's under equilibrium. So if you're doing it on a monthly chart, you're doing it on a longer time frame. Anything under 50% is cheap.
Right.
And he basically used the same ideas that when he took a historic look at oil or housing prices or something like that. If it's below equilibrium, if it's below that, the average price across a long period of time, then it's cheap. Even if the price goes down, it's still cheap.
Right.
And now commodities definitely fit that. Stocks do not.
Yeah, stocks are way on the top end.
Yeah. Definitely. So let me see if I can get a link to that, Andre, and I'll put it in the
Yeah, Trump is reportedly considering a new $1 trillion infrastructure stimulus plan.
I think that's what sent up stocks this morning. I believe that was the deal. It went, it was up already 450 points or so. And then when he came out and said that, it went up to 950 in the Dow futures. Yeah,
so we'll look at a percentage basis. We're up, the Russell's up almost 3.5%. Tech's up almost 2%. Yes is 2.5 almost. And the YM is 2 3/4 right now. So everybody's definitely positive. That's even after a slight downturn from the open, probably some profit taking of people that may have had a overnight position. If they put out a buy and they put out a sell this morning, because that's a massive move overnight.
Yeah. And I was thinking yesterday, and I shared that in a text message to you, that crypto could be entering a new bull market. But to be honest with you, I'm not so sure this morning, because it seems like the correlation, and to get to Andre's question, is that the correlation seems to work really well when crypto and the stock markets go down, because we had the stock market down, 1,800 points, and we keep dipping, and crypto keeps dipping about the same percentage terms. But then on the way up, crypto's not following.
Yeah, it separates. It doesn't follow up.
Yeah. Andre, here's that video on YouTube. So yeah, that's my only kind of concern at this point about what's going on with crypto. I've been anticipating a decline, actually, of Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin below 8,600, XRP maybe to 17.5 or even 13 cents. And so we may still see that if crypto doesn't start to rally here, pretty soon, especially if the stock market stays up.
Yeah,
gold silver ratio is down to 98, kind of held around 99 for a while and dropped.
Yeah, I saw that got down to 95 and then came back up. Oh, speaking of, guess what I got?
What you got?
I got a new delivery yesterday.
Oh, new toy? Ooh,
I got some
nice.
silver delivered.
Oh, wow, nice.
There's
Yeah.
10 troy ounces of silver.
Oh, wow.
I had to have some in my hand to hold.
That's a good feeling, huh?
Greg says, thanks for the PAP walkthrough, Dave. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, no problem, Greg. I'm using it all the time. So, to apply the cheap, expensive model, I just look at anything below 50%, especially on a monthly and weekly chart. I said, okay, well, it's cheap then. You could drag it out for a very long time. So that's why when I look at Bitcoin, and I go back quite a ways on that. I take a look at the high and low from December of 18 up to June of 19. I'll kind of ignore the blow off top in December 17. But I'll go back a couple of years, and right now, anything under 8,600 is cheap on Bitcoin. So right now it's considered to be expensive based on the quadrant system and the price action profits. I like it. I think it is very helpful. You're right. Absolutely. And my video, thank you very much for the comment. So what else is going on here, guys? Everybody trading and making money? Anybody still, anybody not gone live? Are you still paper trading?
I think I've seen a few, but I can't keep track of everyone. Watch the comments. Let's see. I know you had a good conversation with Josh a few weeks back. You were mentioning I was noticing he's always multitasking and busy at work, but he was able to grab a nice profit this morning after the pre-market activity here. So I think he saw this, and that's the YM, but the ES moved right along with it, where there was a fantastic pre-market move. I think that's the best thing about, you mentioned the MES strategy and how we leverage that. If you're able to be up in the morning and you have to go to work at 9, 10 or whatever, or even move to a different room to work or focus on something else, if you're working from home, I think there was a 40-point move that I read about that Josh grabbed this morning on the ES, and that's 40 points is nothing to shake a stick at.
Nice. Yeah, we had a conversation that we did a Zoom, and I kind of walked through a couple of things, especially as it relates to extensions on the price action profit system. So extensions in the quadrant, and that helped him. I think it helped him quite a bit. At least I hope it did. He seemed to get the hang of it. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So I think he's doing a lot better than he was liking. Greg says no trades today. Bad night wasn't up in time. Sometimes it gets you, but the best thing is it'll always be there tomorrow.
Yep, that's absolutely true.
There will be more opportunities for you. Oh, thank you, Greg. I appreciate that. He says he loves the strategy.
Yeah, I love it too. I recommend it for everybody. 2 stocks I added to my watch list. These are kind of interesting. You might be interested in these. One is IPO, just like the name suggests.
Interesting.
It is a publicly traded fund that invests in IPOs, and it's been doing very nicely. As you can see, we had a little bottom there, just along with everybody else in the market. And
I was going to say that looks like the standard market there.
Yeah, and it's been going up very, very nicely. So it looks like it's highly correlated to the market, but on a pretty big pullback, I would not put any money into it at this level, but I think it's something to watch. That's why I put it on the watch list. The other one is this is right up your alley, Dan.
Uh-oh.
Because in the recession, depression, we're looking at, companies like Altria. We're looking at Chevron, all that, those kind of, and cores, and
Yep.
this is BETZ, BETZ.
Oh, gambling.
Gambling, yes, the gambling industry. You can. It's a trust. Let's see. Yeah, they should be there. You just gotta
I'm on a monthly chart, so I might have to come back down to a daily.
Yeah, it just IPO'd like maybe 5-6 days ago.
Oh wow, brand new.
Brand new, yeah.
Let's go to 15-minute then.
So we'll see how it goes, but I put it on my watch list. I want to keep an eye on it, and I think it's interesting. So if the gambling houses have had a tough time here in the health situation that we're in, and they may open up online gaming, and if Congress approves something, these guys could really benefit from that. They got the brands.
That could absolutely blow the top off of that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so many people do horse racing, you name it, online. Poker, Texas Hold'em's massively huge.
Yep.
Greg makes a good comment. He's always been profitable unless he breaks the rules. That's why we have the rule alert.
That's right. Yes, rules are important.
They're there to protect you, sir, and you know it. I like it. Everybody's staying up there. Yeah, I'll keep that. Yeah, I like that. 2 new additions for the watch list. If you guys haven't got on the free mailer list, definitely get out there to strongmarket.com and get on that free list that Dave's putting out.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of research on stocks, individuals. Of course, I've been an index investor for years, but I'm starting to get into individual stocks I find really interesting.
Oh, Andre, I missed he's asking, I think we've talked about it a few times, but if there's a way you combine the MES with the PAP. Well, one thing to keep in mind there is the MES strategy is very short term, right? We're typically in and out within minutes, if not, half an hour to an hour might be a long trade for the MES strategy. And the price action profit course is more geared towards swing trading, where you may hold something for, half a day to a couple days at a time. So whereas the MES strategy, you might get a trade in between any of those, very short term. But yeah, you can incorporate some of the, I'd call it like the logistics, or just where on the curve or high level of which quadrant we're in for the major trends. So it's easier to take a short versus a long, and which way the overall market is trending, but both work independently of each other. So it's not necessarily a combination of it outside of just knowing, hey, where are we in the big picture? Are we in the first quadrant? Are we in the bottom quadrant? And if I'm looking for quick trades in between. So that's kind of how I would sum it up. Dave might have additional words of wisdom there on combining the two.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. The only thing I would add to that is that the price action profit is really kind of giving you a bigger picture on what the smart money is doing. And you can only see that because they're long-term players. You see that on the monthly and the weekly charts. So I don't think it applies very well to the short term. That's why the MES complements if you're doing swing or you're doing short term, use MES, 10, 15-minute trades. If you're doing like DBA, PDBC, some of these other, Bitcoin, stuff like that, you want to look at the big picture if you're going to hold it longer term and look at that smart money. The smart money is not in the 5 to 10 minute time frames. They're in the big time frames.
And that's why we're typically trading different instruments for different strategies. Like we're not doing ES futures trades typically on a PAP unless you have a very large fund where you can ride through a swing that may happen during an open or a close, right, for a couple of days. That could be very, since it is highly leveraged, there's big swings. Whereas if you're trading, option contracts or just lower cost stocks, and you don't have to tie up as much capital in like that type of trade. So lower, you're not leveraged up typically on a PAP trade.
Right. Exactly.
At least I personally don't. Everyone's got to do their own thing, obviously. No, find out what's right for you. You know, you might have an account where you can and absolutely take advantage of it. That would be a massive profit capability.
Right. So the swings are bigger on the price action profits system, but you wouldn't use as much leverage, right? Absolutely.
Use the right tools for the right trade.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. The tools are very important. So the tools that you use depend on your trading styles. Just like there's all kinds of carpenters, and carpenters really rely on having their tools. And they depend on their tools, and they want the best tools that they can for the job. And so if you're a cabinet maker, there are certain tools that you need, and you have to use those. If you're framing a house, well, that's a completely different set of tools. You need big machinery and stuff like that. And then you need fine tools for cabinet making. So it just depends on the tools you need in the style of trading that you're doing.
Just quickly taking a look, I hadn't adjusted back the major index charts. Looks like the SD volumes are above the 20s there, so we're definitely seeing the institutional type of buying activity.
Yeah, well, Powell's saying that their Main Street facility is up and running. They're buying municipal bonds.
They're buying. What aren't they buying is the question at this time.
Yeah, really unbelievable. Here's the thing that just eats at me. They won't reveal what companies they bailed out with the stimulus they're doing. Why is that?
Good question. They're trying to save them from backlash like GM and Ford, but then Ford didn't take it actually, and GM did back in that round.
Well, yeah, but they're using our money.
Oh, but they don't think about it like that. It's it's yours and mine, so it's ours. So they're just helping. It's like a marriage, right?
Oh, so it's my money in their pocket, but as long as it's in their pocket, it's their money.
Right, but they are part of the public, remember, because they count in the public debt.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I think that there's a guy by the name of Greg Manarino. I don't know if you watch him or not. But
him, I don't know.
Yeah, he's been calling the market pretty well. He said it's going up, it's not going down. And one of the things that he said that the reason why they don't want to reveal which companies are getting bailed out is because those executives at those public companies are getting big bonuses. And if people knew that they were getting big bonuses and accepting public money, there'd be hell to pay. Those companies would just get flamed.
And there'd be just further trouble in the streets.
More riots, yeah, absolutely.
Yep. How's our SPY looking?
Well, we're still up 800 points. He's still talking. The economy may be reaching the bottom of virus impact. Okay, so that's a positive statement.
You got closed captioning going on. You can see what he's saying.
Yeah. They're broadcasting it on CNBC.
Got it.
I'm just watching the headlines here as it goes across.
Yeah, he must have said something bad for a little bit there because the 5 minutes before everything dropped down for a second, so they weren't happy about that. But now they're happy with whatever he's saying now.
Yeah. I wonder if the algorithms, like 90% of the trading that goes on is just algorithms on the market. And so I'm wondering if the algorithms are picking up phrases within the context of his speech.
I wouldn't put it past it.
We just put it off. Yeah. When they perceive it as negative.
Right. And then it'll really throw it for a loop because if you just use it out of context, right?
Yeah. No, you must have said something positive because the algos are buying.
Yep, they're happy again. And we're squeezed down once again. 100-point boxes here on the YM. Oh
yeah, one other thing that's interesting is that George Gammon also came out with a video about. He was kind of funny because he was kind of explaining why the stock market was very expensive, and he related it very, very much to 1929 when shoe shine boys used to give tips to their customers. And one of the customers was JP Morgan. And when JP Morgan heard that the shoe shine boy was giving him tips, that was a sign to get out of the market, and he sold everything he had. And so this morning I was talking with someone who went into work, and they were saying they put a large percentage of their income from their paycheck into a 401k plan. And for years, she's been telling people, well, you should put it into it, put your money into 401k plan. It's pre-tax, you just put it away and you don't even think about it. And if you think the market is overextended or whatever, you can always put it into some sort of a safe treasury T-bill or something. And now she said that everybody in the office has been buying stocks.
Probably Tesla.
Or Nikola.
Yeah.
They're taking their stimulus checks and whatever money they have, and they're putting it into stocks. And they're even telling each other what stocks they're buying. And this is a good time to invest.
Yeah, that's when I've seen a few people tweet about that, or other headlines where it's, when all these 10-year-olds can't play Fortnite because they're trading in the morning, and they tell their kids, their friends, that they can't play Fortnite because they're literally day trading, that's the time to get out.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I can't believe that's actually a thing.
Yeah, that is crazy. That is pretty funny. I mean, maybe we'll look back on this after the election and we'll say, oh my God, how many people got trapped in that one. But I think they're going to keep it up. I don't know. We'll see. That's why I took XLY off, XLF off, the diamonds, any stock related index or ETF in the financial sector, consumer sector. Took them all off the watch list because they are, in my opinion, just extremely high risk at this point. There's no benefit of going into a position when, unless we get the inflation. Now, if we get the inflation, that's why I'm interested in the commodities.
Right, exactly.
We might get a little more inflation in stocks, but the real inflation is going to hit commodities, and that's where the money's going to be. That's where the big percentage gains are going to be.
We missed out on a quick one, Dave, and while we were talking that we hit on last week. Look at what just happened on the NQ again.
Unbelievable. Right back up to 10,000.
It broke 10,000. Look what it did in the next 5 minutes.
Oh,
it lost 50 points. That was a nice trade.
Hitting that resistance at 10,000, huh?
Coming right happen again here. Not trading advice. I'm not saying short it, but interesting opportunities around these big numbers.
Yep. Wow. Yeah, it's just crazy that the NASDAQ would hit 10,000 at this point. But it must be all the 10-year-old day traders.
Exactly.
Pushing those up. Hey, Mom, Dad, can I have $5,000 to day trade?
Sure. I've been getting $1,200 a month, so here you go.
Yeah.
Do something with it. See if you can make some money. It's just like a video game, right?
Yeah, it's like a video game. It's a game. It's just...
The other part, I was talking to a friend that was actually going to do some work with us. Is they're talking about why everything's closed up, right? But business is really crazy for like people doing restorations, people doing landscape, people doing all these things to fix up their house because he's like, I think people are tired of sitting around and looking at their stuff that's just been giving them a hard time, and they're actually just fixing it now because with people not going out to eat, with people not going to sporting events, now they're starting to go out to eat again because they're starting to open up again. We'll see what happens there. But there's so much currency not being leveraged that it's building up, and they need to do something. They're not, sports are a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? If that currency isn't flowing somewhere, what are they putting it? So there's actually a lot of companies, and it's nice that some of them are smaller businesses like these landscape companies that they're actually flourishing through this. So it's interesting for your perspective as this happens for different people.
It is interesting, yeah. I was at home. No, not Home Depot. I was at Lowe's yesterday. It was packed.
They've been packed ever since.
Yeah, it's absolutely packed.
They've been nonstop. The ones
The
around here.
gardening stuff, everything. Um, so yeah, I mean, I wonder what Lowe's is doing. You know, this the symbol on Lowe's.
I don't.
They have been doing really, really well. I mean, they're always packed. I went in just after. I think it was kind of like the first time that they opened up a couple weeks ago. All the plants were dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everything that you wanted to buy to plant was like just withering. Um, I think they've restocked since then, but yeah, they weren't taking care of them while they were away.
I know Home Depot. They're quite the rally on a 15-minute. Let's look at the daily on the.
Oh yeah, new highs.
$2, $2, $3, 2.5.
Yeah, they dropped there because they were closed for probably a couple months,
Sure.
but yeah, they rallied back up to new highs.
Yeah. Look. Well, this is look at 324. So that's right when things started happening.
Yep,
Bam.
they still went up. How about Hertz? What's Hertz doing today?
That's the other thing that all these kids are buying, right? Let's go buy a company that just declared bankruptcy.
Yeah, that's hilarious, right? I mean, they're trying to pick these cheap stocks that have declared bankruptcy. Look at the volume at the bottom; they're all buying it.
That's what 10-year-olds do right there.
And you know what's hilarious is Hertz came out and asked the SEC if they could issue more shares.
Oh wow!
And You know why they're issuing shares? So they can get the money to pay off their debtors. How ridiculous of a business model is that?
Wow!
And look at the people. Look, it hit $6 and it's dropped down to $1.94 now. Those people that bought it $4 to $5 are trapped.
Yeah, say goodbye to your stimulus money.
Yeah, so they want to issue more shares so they can, I mean, they're so badly in debt they have no money, and as soon as they work through this bankruptcy process, the stock will stop trading. It's zero. You can't trade it anywhere.
And I'm assuming this 526 is when they announced bankruptcy, which is why they probably gapped down like that.
Yeah, probably.
And then crazy people happened.
Yeah.
Greg's got my ticker for low. Thank you, Greg. Probably looks very similar to Home Depot.
Yeah, well, low is not so low.
Wow. 60 up to, that's over 200%.
Yeah. Well, no, 100, more like about 150%.
60 to 130.
Yeah, so 100% would be up to it'd be up to 120. Right. That's 200%. You're right. From 60 to 120, 130, that's a 200% gain.
That's why all these people cashed in right here and it sold it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything in home repair, that's all flourished. Small businesses doing work for you. Oh, he just said something bad, Dave.
Let's see. What did he say? Tight job market, best to help minorities. So now it's not a tight job market. So the job market's bad, and that's the headline going across. Oh, Fed expects continued unemployment decline. Yeah. Right.
And we also had, let's take a look at calendar. Not that calendar. There it is.
How about Nikola? What's Nikola doing?
What's the ticker on that? Do you know?
NKLA, I think.
Have you guys heard of this yet? I know we might have talked about it. Anybody not know what we're talking about here?
This is hilarious. They have no revenue. No revenue.
They don't even have a product.
They don't even have a product.
This is someone trying to pretend to be Tesla.
April, look at April. It just started taking off at the beginning of May. Nikola is an electric truck manufacturer, kind of like Tesla is for cars. But they're creating an electric, no, I'm sorry, it's not an electric, it's a hydrogen-powered truck. A hydrogen-powered truck requires, now the big part about trucking is the weight of the truck, because the heavier the truck, the less gas mileage you're gonna get, right? So you wanna try to make the truck as light as possible. Well, what Tesla is doing is creating a truck with batteries in it, and batteries are very, very heavy. And so they're not going to get as much distance out of the charge as another type of fuel, but it is better than gas. It is better than gas. But Nikola has come up with an idea, and it's only an idea. I don't even think there's any, I have no idea whether they patented anything yet or not, of a hydrogen-powered truck. And so what they did was they have this idea and they have a prototype, but they don't have anything built yet. In order to create a hydrogen-powered vehicle, you need to have hydrogen, number one. So you need a way to separate the oxygen and the nitrogen or something like that. I don't know what the technical stuff is. But then you have to cool it. So you have to have the way to separate it. Then you have to have a way to cool it, and then you have to have a way of storing it because it becomes liquid hydrogen. And liquid hydrogen is extremely, stay there for a second. There are no quarterly earnings to show. And I'll tell you something funny about that. So the hydrogen becomes very, very heavy, and you have to have massive tanks in order to store it. So where are they going to do that in a truck like that size? So anyway, they were taking pre-orders for their truck. Now they don't have any, they've got a prototype, but they don't have any working models. And Tesla, of course, has been taking pre-orders too, but they required a $1,000 down payment. Well, Nikola was taking pre-orders, but not requiring any money down. And so people were on their website pre-ordering. One guy ordered like 10 of this and 10 of that. They're also coming out with a car powered by the same technology. They're selling t-shirts. That's probably their only revenue, right? So
reporting that.
Yeah. So they reported all these pre-orders as revenue.
Wow. Even
though people put zero down. And so basically you can walk away and never pay for the thing, right? And we don't even know when they're coming out. So for a $70,000 or $30,000 vehicle, a pre-order requires zero down payment. They were counting that whole $30,000 as revenue, as pre-revenue. And that is just a scam. That is a total scam. And
well, just look at the annual report, though. Just because there wasn't a quarterly, or maybe there's an annual. Oh, wait.
There is no annual reports because they don't have anything to show. They have nothing. How's the quarterly look? Any quarterly?
SEC filings. Here's where they're filing something.
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy. There's the current report. Go ahead and click on the source and see what it says.
If it even goes anywhere.
Yeah, their stock price is up, but they have absolutely zero earnings, you know. An interesting thing is that they have issued warrants. There's the common stock exercised at $11.50 a share. Okay, so there's a company called Pipeline that bought all those warrants at $11.50 a share, and they're still trading at like $11.50 a share or $12 a share, while the common stock is at 60.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the guys who bought the warrants who can exercise those calls, in fact, on June 20th, they can exercise those call options, those warrants. which is basically a call option. The warrants are a bit call option. Anything over 11.50 a share. Who in this room does not think that they're going to sell all of them? It's 66 bucks a share. They're all going to get pile in and sell them when they see that kind of profit they can take. That's on June 20th. That's in 4 days. I wouldn't short the stock, but that is a huge red flag.
Yeah, if you can't, there's nothing. That's one thing that George also talked about is fundamentals. If you're going to do research and want to long-term hold something, do the research on the fundamentals. This company has zero fundamentals because they have zero revenue or reporting. Why would you put any money into that?
No product, no sales, no revenue, no earnings.
Yeah, purely riding the coattails of Elon Musk because it sounds like Nikola Tesla.
Right. Yeah, complete rip-off of Tesla in the name.
They have good, graphics designers is about what they have.
Yeah. I mean, I can hire somebody on Fiverr.
For $10 to do that exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Warning, guys, the market is just full of fake crap, and it's just unbelievable the stuff that's being bid up, and it's all the retail investors that are coming into this market that are just fueling this kind of speculative bubble, in my opinion.
And they're the ones that buy it, like you say, just like the Hertz. People are buying this. They see this. Oh, I'm going to miss out. I better get some at $75. Sweet, I'm up to 90. Let's ride it out. Oh, I'm not happy anymore.
Yeah, insane.
What's your headline crawl now as we come to the end of the session? It's definitely something not good for the algos.
Yeah, something's going on. I like it. Market's still up 500 points, but definitely sold off from the highs.
Taking a little downturn there. We see the issues were solved right around 2,400. Now they're coming down. Not that they're still way above 2,000, but you can see how that correlates to the recent activity.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, it's not a time to short. I don't think, unless we get below 2,000, then it'll be a day like Friday when we were up 700. We went down to zero. We even went minus 77 on the YM, and then we ended up 300 points higher. So,
yep, just more massive volatility and pick the right time. And that's the biggest thing that I can say going back to the MES strategies. It's all about knowing the time.
Yes, absolutely. And I think you're absolutely spot on with the portfolio you put together with Chevron and the cores and the, Altrias. That is, how's that doing, by the way? It should be doing pretty well.
I'll take a look right now. Let me grab. Yesterday was up a little bit. It took a little down spin from the big move down. Let me pull up where it is now. I need to do a little second password because for those out there that do tech things, multi-factor authentication on everything.
Yeah, that's a good thing, right?
Yep.
You should know, I guess. So
you want your two-factor codes.
I always do it.
But yeah, we're back up 3% today.
There we go. And that's also why I like the commodity ETFs, because everybody's ignoring them, and those are real. That is like fundamental value. And eventually, when the spec bubble breaks and busts and pops, whatever term you want to use, people are going to be looking for those fundamentals again, and they're going to look to see what's cheap. And it's going to be in those commodities, I believe. Just my opinion.
Yeah, my thoughts were we're going to continue to use gas, no matter how much people think it's dirty, whatever it's going to take. Talk about turning the Titanic. That's what it's going to take if we ever get off of oil. Being as dense as it is for the energy it produces, then we should definitely interview like Josh, because he works in the oil industry. That's not going anywhere. That's part of what made it up that my dip pie was Chevron that Dave mentioned, Exxon, BP. Yeah, they're up 4.5% today. Chevron is, BP's up 3, Exxon's up over 4. So that's what's fueling that pie. That and cigarettes and beer. Cigarettes, beer, and gas.
Absolutely. I think that's the formula going forward, because they're all cheap now. They're all cheap, and they're all going to be used in a recession depression here.
Absolutely. All right, guys, any final questions you got? We're about to call it a day and a week, or what's today? Today's Tuesday. We're just starting this week. I don't even know what day it is anymore.
All the days seem to run together when you can't do anything, right? You're just like stuck at home or
It
whatever.
feels like Thursday to me for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, it is strange. We are definitely in strange. Somebody called it the Twilight Zone.
Right.
Oh, look at that. We're going. May jobs report was a big surprise to Powell. Wow. He didn't know.
I'll give you the link right here, Andre. It is the dip pie that I have on my M1 Finance. I can click the link to copy. I'll put it right here in the chat. Where did so that's the list. I found it off of doing the research that my mentor and partner in crime here, Mr. Dave, put together in the Wealth Masterclass of identifying dividend paying stocks, proper value. And so I use those fundamentals on how I created that list and that portfolio.
Nice. And since you haven't had it that long, you should always put it on like the monthly, I suppose, because if you put it, what they do is they take the stock prices. They don't take into consideration. M1 doesn't take into consideration how long you've held it. They just look at the quarterly based on the price of the assets that you bought. So if you put it on at 1 year, it's down 30%. But that doesn't mean he's down 30%.
Right. It's all exactly when you entered.
Because you just got in, yeah. But yeah, that's the list. Very, very nice. I like it.
Let's see how these react to the very strong 200 EMAs. I have a feeling it's going to potentially bounce off these or at least slow down.
Yeah.
So I'll be watching that after we hang up the shop here.
And crypto's going down too. So we have Bitcoin was at 95.50 when we started, and now it's 94.45, so it's down $100.
Wow.
XRP is down to 19. It was at 1926, I think. Now it's 1910. Yep. Yeah, they're all starting to sell off a little bit here. So correlation, higher correlation. I would say 90% correlation on the way down. Only it looks like about maybe 60% correlation on the way up. So,
yeah, misery loves company on the way down, but not on the way up. Apparently, for
it looks that way.
The comparisons, right?
All right, guys, have a fantastic couple of days. We'll see you on Thursday.
Sounds good. I'll have a couple new and fresh announcements for you, I believe, on Thursday. So look forward to that.
Awesome.
Trade safe, guys. Have a good day.
Take care, Dan.
Bye, Dave.
Bye, guys.